on stage especially, I wasn't a very chatty Cathy, as it were. I was quite like and I'd been playing gigs for years, but I wasn't like very I would like, I remember when we had to do like, it was like a something about performance, and I remember writing down that people I like performing were like Ben Howard and all this stuff, but only because they never said a word on stage, and I thought that was like, I could get away with that sort of brooding intensity, which obviously I don't really possess. But after like this, yeah, as you say, like this whole sort of experience, that was when it was like, oh, you can kind of like just say what you like on stage and just be. Well, for me, it was just about being myself rather than actually having to. Excuse me. I just had a salad and like a nice big cold pressed juice. It was delightful. But yeah, what was I talking about? So it was just it was interesting to realise that you could actually just. It wasn't for me. I was worried that performing had to be this larger than life thing. I think, and being here and stuff, you're able to realise, oh, it's actually you can just. It's just more about being yourself and being. I mean, it works for some people. I mean, Freddie Mercury is famously like. I'm not putting us in the same category, but like he's like someone who was a more like brought out a different side of himself on stage. But for me, it's more about like, yeah, as you say, just bringing out that sort of piss taking side, which I'm like in real life, and yeah, as you say, it kind of all started. Here, because up until that point, when I met you, I must have been like 16 or like younger than that.
You really, I just remember because I was like, you and I think the gig that I'm talking about was in a Hug and Pint, and I got the call the day before, and I think you did as well. Two people have pulled out. They need folk to come in and bring a crowd. Which obviously, well, 7 people for me, that's a crowd for my gigs. Right? But and then we ended up talking, and I just said about the course, and then you applied, I think, the next day, which was I'm glad I did that because we obviously met, we've known each other. It's been a great story seeing you have this phenomenal success. Is just
I thought that was when you're leaving there. I was like,
seeing, we mention you all the time in here because like seeing your success gives us all such great joy, and it's absolutely amazing. And the great thing is as well is that from what I've seen, you and I email and text and stuff like that. This is the first time I've seen you in person since you've since you've left rather. But one thing that always strikes me in the interviews is like he's not changed, and I think that's the one thing. That's a lesson for us all. It's just like, I don't know how you being so young and everything when you had this way, how are you able to kind of keep your feet on the ground? Would you give any tips to anybody that's in that situation where they're starting to gain a profile?
Aye, if you're going to be a do it behind closed doors. That's the way to get on, mate. Very good stuff.
Put that in the big quotations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the headline. No, I don't know. It's to me, it's always seemed like a mad thing. I mean, you all know coming for this like course as well. I don't want to cast any aspersions on the room, but there were certain people in our course that I maybe didn't get on with as much because they were maybe one or they were just a bit more like.
Yeah, I'll tag them on the Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
I won't say any names, but there was just certain people that were like, I felt like, oh, and sometimes like they were my friends as well, but it was just like you had to pull them down and be like, get a grip, do you know what I mean? No one's anything special, is what I think. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing as well. I think coming from Scotland, which I suppose most of us do. Yeah. I'm sure we've got a few in. Well, there you go, some man. So I think it's quite easy to kind of see things for like. You see things, especially in the music industry, for what they are. It's ridiculous. It's like a stupid, like, outside of playing the music, everything else is like not something they should be taking incredibly seriously, just because it's not. I got into playing music to play music. I didn't get into music to be famous. I mean, it's a nice side effect, but it's like, if being famous meant that I couldn't play the music, I would rather stop being famous than playing the music, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely, because I think you told me once, because if we had to do something, what would be the big success story for you? And you went, playing King Tuts?
Yeah.
And that was the extent of the ambition. So, like, to what point do you find it just silly, how big it's got?
It's mad. That is like, the day I met my manager, who's my manager now, so I was managed by this two guys initially. One guy ran Hit the Road named Scott Kirkwood, who's still a great manager, manages a lot of great acts, but we don't want to be there anymore. And then this manager, Ryan Water, who I still work with now. Ryan just emailed me out of the blue. I was just putting lashing shit up on SoundCloud and all the rest of it, and it's like I was just like recording songs on dictaphone on my iPhone and then just putting them up on SoundCloud, and that would be it. And it wasn't like, I never expected them to go anywhere or go viral or anything. It was just something I did. And then so I got an email out of the blue off this guy, was like, oh, fucking, I really like your tunes, we should work together and all that stuff. And I was a bit like, strange guy on the internet, I don't know if I should reflect this. But if I've learned anything, when a stranger approaches you online and asks to meet up, you should do it without any questions.
That's a great lesson for today.
Yeah, exactly. But when I met him for a drink for the first time, it was like, just having a pint, and he was like, so what is your goal? And I said that exact thing. I'd love to play King Tut's. We ended up playing it with the college before we played it as a headline, so I was like, that's fucking great, done it, amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? It was brilliant. And we actually, I don't know if you remember, we played one of the songs on my first album at King Tut's.
Yes.
It's called Headspace. But so that was the whole goal. And my manager, I'm a late. I am. But like my manager's this quite driven, ambitious guy, and he was always like, not like sort of the first couple of months he was really pulling me along, as it were. That's not the
but won't take that. I mean, please.
Exactly. A lot of trouble. Exactly. But he was like the one that was kind of pushing me uphill, and then then obviously you get agents involved and PR people involved, and you realise, this is a lot bigger than just one person. When you realise there's so much people pulling in the same direction that that makes this a thing. If it wasn't for all the people I've met along the way, I would just be and I would still be very happy doing this, but I would still be playing pubs, just writing my own songs and stuff, or playing weddings, which was kind of my plan. And I think that's the thing. And then back to your point about like keeping your feet on the ground or whatever, it's like it's that realization of everybody else is I am such a small part of this whole thing, that it's very easy to not get carried away, and then but then to see the scale of it is absolutely spellbinding.
Very articulate.
Thank you. Cheers.
One thing that maybe keeps us all humble, an incident in here, there was a competition, World Skills, where I thought, I had two bands, I had this really strong class. We had Lewis, we had Adam, we had Courtney, shout out to Courtney, Ursula. We had a really strong class, and I thought, I'll put two bands together, and it was bands from all over the UK, colleges over the UK entered this competition, and the heats were all down south, they progressed through the rounds. I'd get invited to the final, seen the final, I thought, I've got these guys coming on board, this is going to be great. So I remember saying to you, to get to the rehearsal room one day, and I said, don't get big-headed, but I'm putting a band round you. So we make Adam, and we had Paige, we had Kev Sutherland on the kit, and Jason playing bass, we had Courtney and all that in the other band, it was great. So then, I thought, this is brilliant. So we went down to Newcastle, first round. One of the songs that you played ended up being Bruises. Do you remember?
It became Bruises, and eventually it was called Something in the Water at the time. But
so you went up and played, and I'm looking about thinking, well, this is in the bag, we've got this. And they knocked him out in the first round. The first round fucking knockouts, and then we got Reece Dodds parading around. That's right.
King of the Walk.
Yes, that's
right. No, but he's good lad, Reece. But it was fun. Yeah, I was like, but then at the time we kind of went down, we didn't know what to expect for that, so we were like, we'll go down, we'll have a laugh, and have a few pints, which we did, but it was still a great experience.
Can I tell you something? I'm still not over that.
Oh right, okay, still holding
really
on
bad
to that.
about it. I think your success would maybe go, see, I'm still really annoyed about it.
Exactly.
I'm still not over it.
Exactly.
So I need you to get even more successful, maybe somehow feel better about it if you can.
There's still a video of that floating around somewhere.
Yeah, and there's a picture and all that as well.
Yeah.
We'll dish it out. So we're having a conversation now. We'll get back on track. Let's talking advice and everything for guys that are on the course. One thing that many people don't realise for you from a lot of the interviews that I've seen, you're a little bit of a savant when it comes to like music and all the rest of it. If you can, give us 5 songs that everybody should listen to.
Oh fuck.
Well, we know what's coming now, sorry.
My new
I've
single,
teed you up
Forget
here,
Me.
right?
My brand new single that came out last week, Forget Me. You should really listen to that one. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, maybe like
Is that with the Beatles? You're a big Beatles
big
fan,
Beatles
right?
fan. I suppose everybody knows like Yesterday as well. So like for me, that's one of my favourite songs of all time. Because I just think it is the best song of all time. I think it's the first song I cried to. Yeah, thank you. I was masturbating at the time.
He does this, and you think he's getting serious.
No, but it is the first song that probably made me feel something. What else? Maybe like, I don't know about a single song from this band, but Pet Sounds is an album, I think, with the Beach Boys. Massive. What else?
Fan of Dylan, right?
Big fan of Dylan. Bob Dylan was the first album I ever bought. Not because I knew Bob Dylan, I was just trying to be cool. Times are changing. I was very folky, acousticy, singer-songwriter stuff initially when I probably first joined this course. You actually showed me a song that I still listen to this day. Remember, it was the day we met in the Hug and Pint. Say It To Me Now by Glenn Hansard.
Yes, because you never, right, okay, I'll put you up about this.
Yeah.
Because I said, if you could sing that, it'd be really good. That's no bother. And I heard you sing a little bit, but I just thought, that's very confident. I've never seen him do so. Cover that for us, will you?
I will do, yeah, but that's a huge tune. You should check it out if you haven't. But like, I still to this day, like, that's a there you are, massive tune. And then, I don't know, maybe like The Pain Away by Peaches. I don't know that one. Big tune. You should listen to that one. It's good to have a broad horizon, a wide palette. But I don't know. But like as I say, like now growing, like having grown up and stuff. And what I learned a lot in this course was that when you came, everyone had their like little corners. That I was really into acoustic, folky things, and you had Adam, who now plays guitar for Youngblood, was like, "Oh, I'm only listening to rock and that's it." And then we would always be at loggerheads, and then you had the metalheads that would come in. They only listened to metal, and that was it. And it was like Pantera or Slayer or whoever else, and there was nothing else that they were listening to. But by like the end of the course, it felt like everyone had kind of had this like respect for all these different genres. Maybe not, having the guy who was into Slayer running out and listening to Nicki Minaj by the end of it, but like there's this like sort of respect that grew, I think, for all these different genres, especially when you start exploring like the songwriting of it all and the performance of it all, and some of them like really surprise you how hard they are to play. And I think, excuse me, that salad's really fucking but yeah, I think that was the big thing, and that's the thing I learned. So yeah, as I say, when I came into the course, I was very acoustic heavy and all the rest of it, but now it's like everything. I listen to everything and anything, and I enjoy everything. And I think that was the big takeaway for me on this as well, was like that sort of willingness to have like this open mind when it comes to music, as opposed to being very locked off and like, I'm not listening to that or that shit or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Which leads me into this. Somebody told me you're a fan of Slipknot.
I am a huge fan of Slipknot, yeah. Big smouse over there, yeah. Yeah, big fan of Slipknot. Yeah.
That was it.
Oh, sorry, that's it, yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, because I thought, is that true or not? Because I thought maybe he's having that's great band.
Yeah,
great.
No, I love all that shit. I love all that shit. I'm honestly into everything. It's like proper. It's a proper thing, and I remember there's one thing as well, just when you said, and obviously this isn't a goal of should be a goal anyways, but I remember it was a songwriting class or something where anyone was like, I can't remember what we're talking about, but it was something like, has anyone in this class got a goal of like having a top 10 record? And then no one put their hands up, and then you said, would anyone in this class like to have a top 10 record? And only like 3 people put their hands up, and I was like, you're all liars, because this is like, there's no shame in like also that sort of admitting it'd be good to have like a song in the charts. I mean, it'd be nice, do you know what I mean? So, but that sticks with me as well, that sort of like, maybe like, I think it may have been quite early on to be fair, but that sort of like aversion to that sort of saying, oh, that would be quite nice to have a thing. And I think I was one of the people that didn't put my hand up as well. So it's like, just having seen it now is like, yeah, this it's just interesting now, like how I think about that moment in particular sticks out in my head.
And you know what else would be nice? To become number 1 this Sunday, and these guys can help out, because give them the plug again if you didn't hear it.
Yeah, Forget Me, it's out right now, so get your hands in your pockets. I know there's a cost of living crisis, and it's very strange for me to be saying to you to get your hands in your pockets. But no. Listen, I think we might get it. So it's looking good.
We better.
It's looking good.
Still to this day, I download all your stuff on every device.
Thank you very much.
Because I just think, you know,
every little helps.
I genuinely do, and I do the same with Youngblood as well.
I haven't listened to it yet.
But I listen to your stuff, right? Right, go on. I like Youngblood and I love Adam and all that. Right, okay. So one thing I was going to say when we're talking about being down to earth and all the rest of it, I just need to make this point. This today was his idea. This was his idea last week. I said that at the start, that's no nonsense. Lewis's management team have been absolutely outstanding in making this happen, to the point where we were actually going to do it yesterday, but we couldn't get the driver's studio, right? And I'm having to go back and say, hey, and I can't tell him that it's happening, all the rest of it. So I really appreciate that. And it's absolutely unbelievable, and that says everything about him. He could be anywhere right now. You give him a round of applause, right? Because
you just don't have a choice.
He could be anywhere doing anything right now, and he's choosing to be here, so that's really, really special.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. I appreciate that. No, but I'm sorry it's taken this long, because I know we were supposed to...
We've been talking about it for a long time, but I always knew the timing had to be right, the timing is right. Just really, really quickly, just we haven't seen each other for so long, do you remember, now when you were doing the James Corden thing, do you remember talking to violin player Nora?
Yes, I do, yes.
Right, okay.
Because do you know her? But I knew, as soon as she said that, I was like, it's you.
Right, give a backstory, right? It's Friday night, the Saturday morning, the Sunday morning, I didn't know what was happening, right? I tried to follow everything, I tried to watch absolutely everything, okay? I feel like I'm an apologetic parent
Don't
here. So I wake up one morning and I've got texts from him, and I've got a great friend called Nora Germain, shout out to Nora, who's lives in Los Angeles. She's an amazing violin player. We've been really good friends for years. She gets the call, you need to come down and play violin for Lewis on James Corden, The Late Late Show. I didn't know anything about it, and I woke up in the morning, I've got pictures of him and Nora. How are you two together?
Yeah.
What's going on there? So that's just a weird coincidence.
Yeah,
that was
literally, not like I was like, get me Nora. I was like, get me Nora. But she came down, she was lovely, and she was like...
So did you get her because you knew her?
No, not at all. I just, like, literally, I just asked, right, can we have strings on this James Corden performance? And then they came down and they were just... Yeah, they were dead lovely, and she came up and she was like, we have a mutual friend. And I was like, I bet we don't, because you know some people people in LA often go, oh, you're Scotch, you're not Scottish, you're Scotch, and I've got this person. But she was like, oh, you're Scottish, and she goes, we've got a mutual friend. And I was like, all right, who? She goes, oh, Scott Cowie. And I was like, no f***ing way, there you go. So I think she might have also said Motherwell before she said from Motherwell, and I was like, that's wild. But just hearing an American person say Motherwell is like, just feels strange to me.
Because I don't think she knew the relationship, and she was just saying, yeah, he was talking about Motherwell College, and this American's trying to explain. So it's just really funny, the college in Motherwell, whatever. Let's get questions for Lewis. What have we got? Hands up for questions. Go for it, David.
How hard is it going away on the road?
It's pretty tough. I don't know, you've probably noticed, but I'm quite like a jittery guy. I've found out I got Tourette's quite recently. Which wasn't as I've obviously had it my whole life, but it's definitely something that's exacerbated by like going away all the time and that. But it is f***ing amazing. Like, it's not like I'm not here to like be like, oh, it's tough, Lord, it's hard. But my life's pretty good, and it's like, so Scott over there's my tour manager, and it's like we do have a great time, and my band is like, or all my friends and the crew are all my pals. It's like, I think if you have like a tight knit group of people who like, I'd say, care about your well-being, then it's like it's a different thing. Like the other day we were driving to a show in Portugal, on my way to a show in Portugal, and I was really ill, and it was like Scott's call to be like, I'm not letting you play this gig. So I think it's like having people like that there to like sort of be your like, because I'll say yes to everything because I want to do everything and thinking, but sometimes you need somebody who's there to be like, this isn't good for your health, so let's not do this. So yeah, it's hard, but then when you're away, you're having the best time ever, and then you'll be in America for 2 months, and you'll be like, the second month you'll be like, this is really getting hard now because I miss home, and then you go home for 2 days and you're like, oh, this is shit, I wish I was in America. Like, it's the weirdest sort of like flip-flop I've ever, like, you know yourselves, it's like just that sort of thing where it's, when you're there, it's like, And like playing gigs is the bit. I mean, I don't know about you and how many, like, I don't know where everyone is and thingy or whatever, but like, gigs for me are the best thing to do. So it's like, it is class. You get to see all these amazing places, but it's what it's not. I'm not going to say it's like the easiest thing in the world, but it's definitely my one of my best pals is a gravedigger. So
There's a blues song in that somewhere.
yeah, my pal the gravedigger. Yeah. But I'm just so it's like obviously it's all relative.